Hello and welcome to Shauna Stitches, episode 46. It is January the 12th, 2020, and welcome to my podcast all about knitting and other yarny related crafts. I do have show notes in front of me today, which is more organized than I normally am, but I feel I have a lot of details to try and not forget today. It is episode number 46. If I didn't already just say that, I think I did. Welcome back to all returning viewers, and welcome if you're here for the first time as well. I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch. Just a quick little recap. The West Cal 2020 has kicked off, and that is to knit and hopefully finish any West Knits project that you have going. There'll be links down below to where you can read more about that. And also, 2 weeks ago, I posted a video explaining all the rules about it as well. So if you prefer to watch instead of read the instructions, that's there. All right. You can find me on Ravelry under Shauna Stitches. I also have the Shauna Stitches podcast group there as well. And Instagram, I'm Shauna Stitches. Where else? I think those are the main places. I know I have accounts other areas, but that's where you're going to find me most active. All right, so I have one finished object, and I can't show it to you. I'll have to insert a photo, and that's because I gave it to its intended recipient already. It's a crochet. Let's see, what's it actually called? Puppy Dog Granny Hexagon Lovey by Crochet at Teri's. I made a yellow and black little puppy dog for my niece. And like I said, we had to drop that off yesterday. Unfortunately, I don't know if she likes it or not because everyone in the house was sick. So we literally rang the doorbell, dropped it off, and ran. Didn't even step a foot inside because I don't need to be sick again. Okay, so let's get into what I've been working on for the past 2 weeks. I will say, it's not that I haven't had mojo to be crafty. It's almost like I've had too much, and I can't really focus on any one thing. So that being said, in my stamped Christmassy linen bag that I got with my Stress Knits Advent calendar, I have my heel-toe do-si-do socks. I'm sure that I have worked on these some since I showed them to you 2 weeks ago. This is a pattern by Litton, and that's the Crazy Sock Lady for those of you who don't know. I am using this King Cole zigzag yarn in the color Christmas. And yeah, I got past the heel. I'm working my way down the foot. I have big feet, so it's going to be a while. Also, I haven't knit anything on these in a while, even though I have made progress. The way I like to track my progress is I knit for 50 rounds, and I place a marker at 50, 60, 70, 80, and I like my leg to be 90 rounds long. Quite a long leg. And then, once I have 50 rounds on the foot, I just take these off and add those to the foot. So, that's what works for me. My foot usually ends up being about as long as the leg, so it works for me. I'm knitting these on 2.25 9-inch circular needles. Okay, I'm just going down my list here, I think, maybe. All right, the next thing I have to show you has not seen a lot of love in the last 2 weeks, although it has seen some. And that is my West Knits Go-To Raglan. Oops. Helps if I have it squared up. There we go. So it's getting pretty big. I just added the 9th color in. I don't even think you can see it on there. It's Figgy Pudding, day 9. The one right above it is day 8, Bubbly, which if you haven't been watching Stress Knits, I know she said she was going to put a lot of this color in her shop. It's really pretty. And yes, it is inspired by Champagne. During my, totally drawing a blank, what's it called? During my Vlogmas, that's it, Vlogmas, I was saying that I hope that that was named after Champagne. And it is, so perfect. I feel like I'm getting to a point where I need to try this on soon and see where it's hitting me, because already, granted this probably isn't exactly where it'd be, but the waist of my pants is right here where my finger is, right there. So the problem with this last time was that it was way too long and way too big. So I don't quite understand. He says to knit for 14.5 inches after the armpit. I know I've done that, and I've done longer with other sweaters, but this one just seems long for some reason. So anyway, I was going to take this to knit night, but I just didn't want to try it on. Weird, I know. I'm probably mentally thinking that it's not going to fit again, although it seems like it will. Anyway, it's just one of those mental roadblock things. I need to try it on. I need to see how much more I need to knit. Each 20-gram mini that I have is taking approximately 3 inches, or adding about 3 inches, I should say. So I'm guessing probably by the time I'm done with this one, if not sooner, I'll be ready to start that hem again. Anyway, I love it. I don't know. I just haven't been knitting on it. And I have something else that is taking all my knitting mojo that I'll talk to you about in a little bit. However, I was hoping this sweater would be done. Sometimes you just need a break, you know? That's how I'm feeling. I just hope that it's not, you know, a long break where it just sits in my incompleted objects area for a long period of time. I have a probably half-finished weekender sweater that I haven't touched in over a year. I really just need to knit it, but that's besides the point. Maybe 2021 will be finish all the things that I haven't finished, but that's for next year. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Okay, the next thing I have to show you is that I did finish my third Advent mini right here from my sock yarn swapper. So this was 1, 2, and 3. So my whole goal was just to finish one a week, and I have been able to do that really easily. It's nice when you set attainable goals. Even though it feels like it's moving slow, it's moving a lot faster than it would be if I wasn't knitting on it at all. So that's what I knit during knit night this week. What else? Oh, I have so many things. Okay, it's the big exciting, I'm so excited, project. So this here is a box that I got. I think I got this the first year I started knitting, maybe the second, and it was intended to be holding my 12 box of socks. And back then I would knit them and add them to my box, and I wouldn't wear them until the end of the year. I don't really do that so much anymore, but I've repurposed this box. I just want to open the lid, but I don't want things to like pop out like for those the old can of nuts that like the little thing would come flying out of. Anyways, I almost did it too. So that looks like a crazy mess. It gets crazier. Let me just show you. This. That's so gonna be my thing. Anyway, my thumbnail. Anyhow, this is 12 pairs of socks. No, 12 socks. 6 pairs. I can't count. 6 pairs of socks being knit at the same time on one set of needles. So where to start explaining this? I saw a video on, actually back up. I saw someone knitting 12 socks at a time on a Facebook group. I think it was Addicted to Sock Knitting or Strictly Socks, or I'm part of a couple groups on Facebook. about knitting socks and only knitting socks. And I saw somebody knitting 12 socks. I thought, that's crazy. I don't even like knitting 2 at a time. Yeah, I get the irony of that, by the way. So anyway, I saw that a while ago. And then fast forward, there was a video that came out. And I don't know what it was, but something about this project, I don't know if you guys will know what I mean by this, but sometimes you just like have to do something, or at least I get that way sometimes with crafty things. Like I can have all my projects that, you know, I've been working on, and suddenly I just need to cast something on, and I need to do it like in the worst way. So I just happen to have 2 40-inch circulars that are 2.25. One of them has the little bend in it, and one is straight. Not necessary, but for me it helps. And these are the only 2 that I had, at least of Chiagu brand. So I picked out 12 50-gram balls of yarn from my stash. These are yarns that I've had for a long time. They're all ice yarn mini sock. And if you're not familiar with ice yarns, they are from Turkey, I believe. And when you order sock yarn, at least, it comes in 400-gram increments. So I have enough to make 4 pairs of socks in each color. And I had ordered a bunch. This is way back when I really didn't have a stash. So this was kind of like starting my stash, and I wasn't super confident with my knitting skills at the time. So needless to say, I've had this yarn a long time. I have passed it over time and time again because I have things that are more exciting to me in my stash. So I knew that if this went horribly wrong, I didn't care if I had to, you know, cut the yarn, throw it away, it couldn't be frogged, whatever, because I really didn't know how this was going to go. So they named their sock yarns really weird things. Like this one would just be gray and pink. You know, I mean, like it doesn't really have a name, if that makes sense. So that being said, I have now done 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. I always do 20 rounds for my cuffs. And believe me, I have been tempted to just stop at 15 because that looks like a pretty nice cuff. But I really want these to be socks that I will enjoy wearing. So I'd like them to be my normal recipe. And at first this was a little fiddly, but once I got going, like now, it's great. It takes me 18 to 22 minutes to do 1/2 of the stitches. So going across 12 different cuffs. And yeah, I've been recording little snippets as I created this project. So I'm going to put all those together into a video, and that way, if you want to join the crazy with me, then you will kind of have a little go-to. It's not 100% a tutorial, but if you watch that and have done 2 at a time knitting socks before, then I think it's more than enough to get you started. If you have questions, you can always ask me. I may or may not be able to answer them. Because like I said, I really just kind of went with this. You know, there's no pattern for it, nothing. So anyway, let me tell you, once I finish the cuffs, I am actually going to do patterned socks for all of these. I'm going to do the pattern on the front of the sock and leave the back plain stockinette. I figure that will give me enough variation and interest to keep me going, and then I'll have the back half of the sock to really just kind of relax and knit. So that being said, I'm going to tell you what pattern I picked for each color. But I will say, if there's ever some point where I'm just like, screw the patterns, I will just keep knitting in stockinette all the way around, and it's not going to hurt my feelings that, you know, 1 inch or 2 inches, you know, I'm being optimistic here. If there's only a little bit of patterning, it's okay. So this pink and gray, I'm going to do the Red Robin socks, which is a pattern by Helen Stewart. This white multicolored yarn is going to be String of Lights by Sock Witchery. The blue one here is going to be the Simple Skip or SKYP, SKYP by Adrienne. I should say that's a paid for pattern. The Red Robin socks are paid for. String of Lights is paid for. Simple Skip is a free pattern on Ravelry. I totally understand that these yarns are in the way. When I knit this, it is, it's not a mess like this. It's really, when you're knitting it, you're just knitting one cuff at a time. It couldn't be easier. I have not had one tangle yet. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Anyway, the yellow and pink is going to be Rye Light by Tin Can Knits, a free pattern, which I have never knit before. The purple and black is going to be Heel Toe Do-Si Do, same pattern as my Christmas socks I showed you. I do get that that is for self-striping. I'm not sure how it's going to come out on here, but I like the pattern enough that even if you can't really see the true pattern of it, I won't mind too much, I don't think. And then the very last one here, the tan and blue, is going to be Vanilla Latte, which is a free pattern by Virginia Rose Jeans or Jeanies. I'm not sure how you say that. Anyway, I'm loving this. I cannot wait to be done with the cuffs to actually start the pattern. And I will say, these ends here, it'll be nice to get these woven in, but now that the cuff is longer, these aren't bothering me near as much as they were when I first started, because they were really getting tangled into that little, 1/4 inch of cuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it, you guys. I'm just really, really enjoying it, although it does take a long time to get across a row. It's really fun and different and a challenge. And truly, I think that's what drew me to this more than anything, was the challenge of it. Sometimes you crave that super simple project that's just mindless, but I've been really stressed out lately. And so let me show you another project that I started. I think in my stressed outedness feeling that I was going for simple. As you can see, I have these little granny squares. These were made actually of some of the same yarn that I had from the 12 at a time socks that I just showed you. Ice yarns. I just picked some from my stash. It felt like a good stash buster. And the squares are inspired by Amy of Stranded Dye Works. Just 5 round granny squares. I absolutely love how her blanket's coming out. And like I said, I was feeling really, really stressed. So I thought, if I'm stressed, then a simple project's probably the way to go. But that is not how my brain works, you guys. In fact, I started knitting at a time in my life where I was super stressed out. And the process of learning something new, of being challenged, really helps distract my brain from negative things or stressful things that, I'm probably better not thinking about every waking moment of the day. And so that is why I have absolutely loved working on those 12 at a time socks, because I was at a point where I needed a distraction and I needed a really big one. So that has really helped me a lot, and now it's becoming kind of easy again, so I'm hoping that I don't get burnt out. My plan, and every time I tell you my plan, that changes, so be prepared. Who knows what next podcast is going to be, but my plan is to keep working on those and until they're finished, but we'll see. Sometimes it's hard to stay with a project that long, and it's going to be a long-term project. I already know that. So, yeah, I feel like I was going to say something else about that. Oh, yes. So I said I was going to upload the little snippets that I've been recording, which are all on my Instagram stories, by the way. I'm going to put all those together, but my goal, since this first video will be getting you started, is to do another section where I'm talking about the heels and maybe another one talking about the toe, and then just kind of the process in general, a recap when I'm done. So my thought is, I originally was going to wait to post the video until I was done, but because that might be quite a long time, so obviously knitting 6 pairs of socks, that takes some time. I think I will do the sort of getting started video and then another video talking about maybe the leg or the heel and then the foot and then the toe, and do, maybe that's 3 videos or something, and then do one at the end where it's all together. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's my thought process, is that way if there is somebody out there who really wants to get started, you have some info. There are a couple of other videos on YouTube already. If you just search for 12 at a time socks, I believe that will get you the videos that are already out there. I've watched them both and kind of like took what worked for me out of both of them, and so mine's not exactly the same as theirs. Yeah, anyway, maybe you'll get some tips from mine that help, or maybe theirs are better for you. I don't know. So take a look at that if you're interested, or if you just want to laugh at me for being crazy, that's okay too. All right, I think, let's see, let me check my notes here. I have one other project to share with you guys, and it is very much in its infancy, and that is this. These are just ends. They'll get woven in eventually. But you see, the actual project is quite small. This is the Faded Fantasy Faded Fantasy Temperature Blanket, which is crochet, by the way. And the designer is Esther. I'm so not going to be able to say this last name. Esther, Dijkstra. Dijkstra? I'm sure I did not say that right. Anyway, she has picked, I can't remember the brand of yarn. She was using a fingering weight, and she was able to pick actual fades, which I think are awesome. But in the spirit of trying to stash down this year and knitting only from stash, I've picked some acrylic that I had in stash. I have a couple different brands, but they're all DK weight. And I will insert a photo of my temperature gauge that I'm doing. You know, obviously a temperature or a color represents a temperature range. And so I just picked from my stash. I have like white and cream, gray and tan, and then blue, yellow, green, and coral. Kind of in a rainbow at the highest, down to the neutral colors at the bottom. So mine is not a fade at all, but again, I have had this stuff in stash for a very long time and would like to use it. So this is current up till today. Another reason I picked this pattern specifically, even though her pattern is intended for fingering, so it would be even smaller, I believe that this is going to be a manageable project. In the past, I have picked crochet temperature blankets and never finished them. Not once have I ever finished one, because they're kind of big and become cumbersome. So this, you increase every day until you get to the half point, which she has in the pattern. This is a free pattern, by the way. You increase until that half point, and then you start decreasing. So I can't remember, let's see, that'd be around June, right? End of June would be half the year. So I don't know how big it's going to be. I'm using a 4mm hook. Just whatever I thought would go good with DK weight yarn. So this thing, it is pretty solid at this point. I don't know how big it's going to be, but it would be nice to actually finish one. I wasn't going to do it, but then a lot of people were talking about how being 2020, obviously it's the beginning of a new decade, and it's a leap year, which is kind of special too. So I decided to just give it a go. Okay, I think that is all the crafty stuff. I told you I've just been all over the place working on a little bit of everything. Hopefully I'm just going to focus on those socks. But you know what? The minute I upload this video, it could be something completely different. That being said, I have had some prizes for the West Cal 2020 start coming in, which are super exciting. The first one was so nicely donated by Fish Belly Fiberworks, and it's this beautiful blue color. I know the packaging isn't helping it show up quite right. It's glary, but I didn't want to take it out of here. I was able to see that this is a 75-25 fingering weight, 463 yards. And I think the color is called Current, like water current. It's a tonal blue. It's really, really pretty. Thank you so much for donating this. Whoever ends up winning it, I know that you're going to love this. The next 3 prizes, well, it might only be 2. We'll see. But the next prizes I purchased from Hannah Made It. So all 3 of these are from Hannah Made It. I have never had her yarn before. It's really nice and soft and squishy. This one here is so beautiful. It's on her Reliant sock base, which is an 85 merino, 15 nylon, 435 yards. And I feel like there's a color on here. Yes. Strung Out on Love. I absolutely love these colors. Gray and pink and black and white and lots of speckles. So that's going to be a prize for sure. The other one that I have from her is kind of along the same lines with some neon. I love it. This one is her Luminous Lace. It's 75-25. Actually, it's 75 superwash merino and 25% silk. So it's not nylon. It's really nice. 874 yards. And this is the color, What's This? Love it. So that one is going to be a prize for sure also. And the last one, which I'm thinking about keeping this one, you guys. Even when I ordered it, I thought I might keep it. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. It, again, is on the Resilient Sock, 85-15. And the color is, I don't know how to say this, Versailles? I don't know. But I love these colors. That being said, it's probably going to be a prize because I'm trying not to buy yarn. But it's so pretty. Anyways, that's where we are for prizes. I told you guys there were going to be some awesome prizes, and there's going to be even more, so don't you worry. I have had a couple people using the hashtag WestCal2020 on Instagram, and I appreciate everybody who is posting and reposting and sharing that cal. And then I've had a couple, in fact, I just had the first finished object posted today. It was an exploration station, which is really pretty. So if you guys want some inspiration, go look at those threads in the Ravelry group and be inspired and post away. I love the chatter that I'm seeing, and I absolutely love seeing the project. So yeah, that's really good. Let's see, life stuff. There's been a lot of life lately. One thing which actually happened before the previous podcast, I just completely forgot to mention it, was that I got rear-ended on December the 26th, which ironically was the 6-year purchase anniversary of when I bought that card. I don't think I talked about it anyway last time. Maybe I did. If I did, I apologize for repeating myself. I just can't remember. Anyway, so luckily no one was hurt. I had a little bit of pain, but nothing serious, and that's gone now. So, but my car, on the other hand, has a lot of pain. Luckily it's drivable. That's great. But they couldn't get me into the repair shop until the 28th of this month. So over a month. But so far the process with the other person's insurance seems to be going smoothly. I did get my estimate, and they say it's going to be like $2,400, and I think they're crazy. That being said, I was only able to upload photos of the damage to an estimator app or something. Somebody looks at it when they get the pictures, and I just kind of feel like you can't really grasp the entirety of the situation or the entirety of the damage based on a picture alone. So we'll see. I've not had to deal with this before, so I don't know kind of what the whole process is. I just know my next step is to drop it off on January 28th. I mentioned earlier just being stressed out about stuff. Life's fine. I'm fine. I'm not sick. Nothing like that. Glenn is fine. It's just I have a lot of stuff going on that I don't really want to talk about the details too much. Just kind of everyday life stuff. But for me anyway, stuff kind of like it all rolls downhill until it's at the bottom, and then it stacks up, and suddenly things that were like not a big deal are a big deal or feel like a big deal. So anyway, I am working my way through that and driving myself bonkers, working on 12 socks at a time in order to cope with that. So yeah, I hope you guys are all kind of wrapped up from the holidays and ready to face the new year. I hope that your new year has been going good so far. And thank you again so much for watching. I hope I haven't forgotten to say anything. It seems like every time I record, there's something that I forget. But yeah, just go ahead and go check out that West Cal 2020 that I have going on. I'd love to see you participate and hopefully win one of those gorgeous prizes that I just showed you. And I will record again soon, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.